Hey there. Sorry here. So this is the Dragon King's intervention. This is to get the upgrades to Reagan's cloak, which is just an accessory that you can get for the new Reagan that has come out. um, it's not a bad thing to pick up. Certainly, it could be useful, especially if you're a newer player or you just don't have all that much gear to go around. Definitely worth it to pick up these like upgraded items, like for example, Genesis's coat from a couple weeks back. It's actually a really good equip on Genesis himself. So, definitely don't pass up these things. But for me, the Lapis is the big thing, is the big reward for these. And so let's get in here and clear this one out. This one's not like super easy, but as long as you have a good tank to basically tank most of the damage, you should be fine. And an Omni tank is preferred, just because the boss will do some fixed attacks. And so if you want those to be covered, then you need an Omni tank. If you don't have any kind of Omni tank, then you'll have to definitely build in some elemental resists for your party for those fixed attacks. So just keep that in mind. All right, now you can bring a friend on this one. I'm gonna pick on my friend Diceman here because he's a good friend of mine. He's been in the Murder Bunny army for a while and is on my Discord server. I'm gonna pick on him a little bit because I was gonna say just like pick a random Flaring Aether Rain off your list. And so I wanted to pick on Diceman a little bit, and I'll show you why in just a minute when we go through the gear. Sorry, Diceman, I had to do this. But anyways, here's the team that we're using. So I am bringing my Flaring Aether Rain. He will make short work of this one, no problem. I'm bringing the free Reagan as well, just as like a nice little chain partner to go with Rain. I'm bringing my Crowned Lock, just because he's great for the 90% break. If you don't have Lock, bring someone like Cacteria, who can do an 89% defense break. You could also bring like Lara Croft for a 90% defense break, although then you don't get the attack and mag break. The nice thing about Locke is he can also do attack and mag breaks, which help reduce the stress on your tank. Because your tank is going to take some damage unless you can build them for 350%, to all elements, which is a tall order, right? Because the Bahamut will basically, anytime it does a magic attack, it imperils you to the element it's about to hit you with by 250%. So if you want to actually nullify all magic damage, you have to build your tank for like 350 elemental resist. We're not gonna do that. But we've definitely bulked up Esther enough that she's gonna tank this just fine. And then of course we've got the new Fina. I figured most people that pulled for Flaring Aether Rain probably got at least one of her. I mean, there was one guaranteed on the step up. So if you went all the way on that one step up that had the shards, you would have gotten her anyways. And so I figure if you're using Flaring Aether Rain, you probably have Dark Lineage Fina to go with it. And she's great for this one because she's got the Dragon Killers in her kit. All right. Real quick, I'll go through the gear. So, yeah, my Fina is basically the same gear. If you saw my previous video doing the key to weapon with the Physalis clear, pretty much the exact same gear here. Yeah, she's full evade. Not that it matters. Honestly, she can be naked. She doesn't really need anything for this fight. Unlike the last one where I needed to build her to be evade, she doesn't really need anything here. Esther is going to be staying strictly in her shifted form. So I've given her a lot of spirit. You see, so I gave her this card. This was from the Abigail step up banner. All right, you could certainly bring Abigail to this fight, but like I said, then you have to account for the fixed attacks, which Abigail can only omni cover for one turn. So that's just something to consider. But this is from the Abigail step up banner, so it makes it really easy to build Esther more as a magic tank because it gives 200 TDH spirit. So then you can use Shy Mermaid, which comes from Magic Mermaid Frisia, to basically cap her TDH spirit. So she's capped on that, overcapped actually, because I gave her Borehammer. She actually doesn't need it anymore now that I think about it. And then just a lot of high spirit gear with elemental resist. You see, she's not going to be immune to anything. but she's definitely got a good spread of elemental resists across the board, so that she's not taking too much magic damage. All right, and that's really all. All right, she can basically go as long as you need her to, and you can just keep going. It might actually be a good idea if you're going to go longer than 3 turns. Like I'm going to clean this up in 3 turns. If you're going to go longer than 3 turns, I highly recommend putting a couple of Blizzard Orbs on your Esther. That way she can refill her LB and use her LB to do her limit burst, so that she can reapply her Omni cover whenever you need to. So that's about the only thing I would recommend changing on here is doing some Blizzard Orbs. And in fact, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and put one on her. I'll put just one on her. That's probably enough because all the magic stuff is AoE. So I'll put 1 Blizzard Orb just so she gets some counters. All right, Flaring Aether Rain. We don't care about the Brave Shift or the normal form, just the Brave Shift form. And so this is basically just like my standard bearer build here. You don't need death resist. That was just on there from a previous trial. And so just like all the best gear that I have on him, but we're going to do this super quick. So don't feel like you have to have all this gear to get it done. All right, obviously this is just putting my best foot forward. 2 forms of chain ramp speed there for him, just makes him do a lot more damage, a lot faster. And 300% Dragon Killer because he's got Odin Esper equipped. So yeah, so we don't even need to worry about killers. All right, so moving on. We've got Lock. Lock is our evade provoke unit on this one because the Bahamut will do a couple of single target physical attacks that can be provoked, and so that's good to have him on that. Although Esther's going to Omni cover it anyways, so honestly it doesn't really matter. Yeah, other than that, his gear doesn't really matter. Like I said, he's here for the 90% defense break, which you get by putting 4 crowns into him. All right, those are gold crowns. They haven't done silver crowns for him. That would be too good, I think. All right, so you do have to spend some golds on that one, but honestly, I've used this guy so much recently. It's definitely worth it. I'm definitely glad I invested the 4 crowns in this guy. He has been very, very useful for a lot of content lately, especially the Grace Trials. All right. Reagan, oh my gosh, I didn't even, so you can see I didn't even bother to finish gearing my Reagan. That's all right. I'm not even gonna bother with it here. Does he have Dragon Killer? He's at least got Dragon Killer, not full on LB damage, so room for improvement there. My friend Dice Man here. All right. You can see he's missing something there. So picking on him only because it's more just to prove that you don't have to have like the best Flaring Aether Rain to get this one done quickly. Diceman probably just has his offhand weapon like running through Item World and maybe forgot to re-equip him. I did not ask anybody to build this for me. I did not ask Diceman, hey, build me one. So this is me just kind of catching him off guard. Again, I apologize, Diceman, just had to do it. But hey, now you know, go put that offhand weapon on your Flaring Aether Rain. And again, you know, I didn't ask anybody to build this for me. This is a random rain pulled off the list. Doesn't even have full Dragon Killer. That's okay. We're still going to crush this one, knock it out of the park, okay? So it's just to show you that you don't have to have the best gear, the best Flaring Aether Rain to go into this fight. All right, and just like the previous fight, I believe that was the Sephiroth one. You know, my Flaring Aether Rain is up and available on my friends list and my Nemesis slot. If you're you know, really desperately need a Flaring Aether Rain friend, feel free to hit me up in the comments below. Leave your ID. I'll be happy to friend you. You can take my Rain in there and just clear it out. All right. So let's get in here and see how we get this done. All right, so Bahamut has a break gauge, and just like all the other break gauges, we're going to ignore it. Although, I will say that the break gauge does actually do something this time. So on this turn, after we've done our stuff on this turn, the boss is going to put up a 10% all stat buff. If you break the gauge, the turn after you break the gauge, or sorry, I should say on the turn that you break the gauge, when it becomes Bahamut's turn, he will then dispel his buffs for you. So the break gauge does actually do something this time, but we're still gonna ignore it. All right, so Locke will start with Force Hunt. Go ahead and put up the brakes. Fina is going to do Heavenly Field, which does some stat buffs and LB damage buff. And then she's going to do Double Tender Rain because Esther does not have her TMR equipped. So you notice she has no LB gauge, and as we all know, all of her skills require LB fill. So she needs a little bit of help to get started. So Electromagnetic, Storm Guardian, and Energizing Bunny. All right, Reagan is going to do Crimson Flame and Azure for the Fire Imperil, Crimson Dyed Blade just to imbue himself, and then just multi-trigger just for something. All right, I'm going to shift my friend Rain. It is always good to start your, if you have a Flaring Aether Rain on your friends list, do make sure that they start in normal form. Don't ever leave your Flaring Aether Rain in Brave Shift form on the friends list, because you never know if you're going to need, you don't want to be forced into that trance, right? Okay, and so just, always keep that in mind. All right, so Rains are just going to go ahead and do, oh, wait, is mine? Yeah, mine's shifted. So, so you see, I started mine shifted, but now we're stuck in this form, right? And so that's why you never want to have your friends list Rain already in Brave Shift form. Anyways, get off the soapbox now. Let's go ahead and do a little chunk of damage here. There you go. So you can see we're already doing like a third of the boss's health. He's got like 38 billion HP. These bosses are getting super bulky. But yeah, so we're already a third of the way there. All right, and we haven't even put up the killer buffs. We don't even have a fully stacked LB. So yeah, we're gonna get through with this one. Ah. And you know what? I just remembered. So that actually, that brought up an excellent point. So if you don't have her TMR equipped, her normal attack does not do the LB fill. So if you need her to counter, so if you're going to go longer than 3 turns and you need her to counter to fill up her LB, make sure you equip her TMR so that her normal attack actually fills up her LB gauge. All right, you would think I would know that. You would think I would know, being a big fan of Esther, right? Okay, so Fina, on this turn, we're going to go ahead and apply the Dragon Killer to the party. Do some more LB fill, okay, for Esther. Locke's going to do his LB for the 90% attack and mag breaks. Okay, Esther, we'll wait until the LB fill goes into place. All right, she'll do Boundless Stasis, Discharge, True Stormbrand for some more LB fill. All right, Reagan is just going to do his, Reagan just does his cooldown. Rains are going to set up with their cooldown amp, and yeah, we'll just hit the boss, I guess. All right, cooldown amp and hit the boss. Okay, so yeah, if you do need to get rid of the break gauge, it is weak to swords, great swords, spears, and bows. So, yeah, so that's what you can use to get rid of the break gauge quickly. All right, so you can see Esther tanking it just fine. All right, and we're just going to get in here and kill this thing. No problem. Okay, there we go. All right, and yeah, let's do it. Boom. Massive overkill. Massive overkill. So you see, even with a gimped friend, a barely built Reagan, we're still slaying through this thing easy peasy. So take your Flaring Aether Rain in there, get in there, crush it. Take your Esther to just omni tank everything. You will be fine. You'll be fine. This one's not particularly difficult. All right. So yeah. My Flaring Aether Rain obviously doing a majority of the damage. Again, with another Flaring Aether Rain that was geared for the fight, you'd be doing this even faster. Reagan would have probably been doing a bit more damage if he had actually been fully geared as well. So yeah, there's a lot of room for for improvement here. All right, so hopefully this was helpful to you guys. Like I said, let me know if you need a friend, Flaring Aether Rain, to take it into this one to just slay it real quick. I'm happy to help you out. All right, thank you guys so much for following me. I will see you on the other side.